We're going to be talking today about the future of Help Desk and specifically how AI is transforming support. It's obviously had a large impact on many things nowadays, but specifically support. There's a lot of interesting things for us to cover. But before we get into it, I would like to just cover a couple of housekeeping items. So first of all, we're going to keep this high level today. We're going to give you just a little bit of a taste. I would definitely recommend a one-on-one demo for anyone who's interested in diving a little bit deeper or speaking about your specific use case. We can certainly get into that one-on-one. But with that in mind, also feel free to ask questions. Just type them into that question box. And lastly, this will be recorded. So if you've registered ahead of time, we'll be sending you out the recording and also uploading this to our YouTube channel as well as to our website. So you can reference it there. Now, without any further ado, I would like to go ahead and introduce our speaker today, Scott Restivo. He is our CEO. And Scott, what do you have for us?
Oh, hi, Krista. Thank you for the introduction. And as Krista, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. As Krista was pointing out, is that a one-on-one demo is we can go much more into depth into your specific needs. So we'll go cover the topics of what we're doing in AI and with NITRO Help Desk and HR Help Desk. And then, but if you see like they have more questions, want to go deeper, we'll be very glad to talk to you about that. It's really interesting conversations we have with so many different customers out there, so many people that give great insight to where people are with these different tools, AI tools. It's a very new field, very evolving. Okay, Crow Canyon's been around 25 years, or almost 26 now. We're doing business automation solutions. We're Microsoft preferred partner. We have GSA, Schedule 70, certified small business in California. We're on various big city vendor lists, such as the Passport of New York City and LA and San Francisco and all those things. So if you work for government, we are very much involved in whatever procurement vehicles you have there, Texas, California, DC, all over, as well as we work a lot with people all over the world, corporations all over. We have what we do here at Crow Canyon Software can be broken down into, we have these out-of-the-box applications. We have our NITRO Studio, which is a forms and workflow platform that helps build the applications, or you can build your own. You can take it, and some people take and build dozens and dozens of different applications and forms and workflows for their organization with NITRO Studio. We also build custom solutions, and we're doing a lot of work lately with AI and co-pilots. And Krista put up a bunch of the badges we have been around 25 years. We have a lot of reputation, word of mouth going on the web. So what our products run in is Microsoft Office 365, the commercial, the GCC, the government cloud, and even the government cloud high. We use Teams. And we have not completely abandoned the on-premises world either. We're in the SharePoint, the subscription edition, the latest version of SharePoint on-premises, 2019, 2016. And we still have customers using 2013, and I think even one using 2010. We're trying to encourage them to move up to newer versions of premises. A lot of people moving from on-premises to the cloud too, like Office 365. So we work with them also. Now, we have many applications. One of them that we're going to talk about today is the NITRO Help Desk 3.5. We have a standard version and an advanced version. The standard version has features, all the features you need for support, but without the AI, because there are a lot of organizations not ready to jump into the AI pool yet, not ready. They have to go through cybersecurity and technical analysis, and even the state of California for a while you have to get approval from the California Technology Office, and there's all kinds of cautions, I guess, these days from some organizations about moving to AI. So we have a standard version ready for that situation. But we also have the advanced version with features, and we can talk about that, how that's set up, what you need to do to get ready for the use AI in your organization. We're very well versed in that. We've been doing it even before ChatGPT came out. So let me show you what features we have here. We have, in the standard version, we have all the normal things you'd want in a help desk: the incident problem change management, omnichannel support, the portals, first level agreements, et cetera, running in the Microsoft 365 and Teams environment or running in the SharePoint on-premises environment. But the advanced adds on to the standard version with various things which I'll show you today: the Copilot, the ticket assistant, summarization, generating emails using generative AI to create emails, sentiment analysis. It's quite an interesting thing. There's a lot going on, a lot of new tools coming out, a lot of new ways to use AI. And we've been around a long time. We went through many different technological evolutions from, imagine 26 years ago, it's like the dark ages almost. And we went to Outlook, to the mobile, to cloud, to Office 365. So as we go into a new technology paradigm, such as AI, we always are focused on what are the practical real world uses of this, what is the real stuff versus the hype. And we base that on the real results we get from providing these tools. So we're finding really good progress by taking AI in a measured kind of approach rather than just slapping AI on everything. And in support and help desk, AI has a lot of capabilities, but it has to be used correctly. And we have experience in that, a number of customers who we gained that experience with, and we feel very confident that we can move forward, let's say aggressively, or like at least conscientiously with AI and make sure it works right. So we'll go through this list and I'll show you some slides and then go right into a demo. The first one on the list is the NITRO Copilot. So I want to talk about the Copilot a little bit. I know there's Microsoft Copilot and other Copilots, but we use the underlying technology to build our own Copilot. We use Azure OpenAI services. We use the Azure search indexes and things like that, but we do our own vectorizations and other technical aspects of AI to build a practical AI that's safe, secure, and provides real solutions. It's quick, easy, reliable answers, and very adjustable in terms of how you vectorize your data. Makes a difference on how it's presented. There's issues with prompting, all these technical things that I could spend a whole webinar just talking about all that. It'd be a webinar just on how to prompt right or how to chunk the data right. That's not what we're going to talk about today. If you're interested, I'd be very glad to go into those technical details. It's kind of fun and interesting, and there's a lot to explore there. But basically, the underlying nature of Copilot is that you can adjust it according to your data. You can tweak it a lot easier than can with the Microsoft Copilot. There's then its staff benefits with reduced workload, and it runs in the Office 365 environment. Now, one other thing that to consider here is that with our help desk, the Copilot comes along and you have a cost that's known. With Microsoft Copilot, here's, if you look at this slide of the licensing, this is one of the slides. I've always had this problem, I don't know if others, with Microsoft licensing. It's like, huh? What are we paying for? How much will it be? And look at these charts, and you're trying to parse it out and figure out how much it costs, and you go over to the billing rates and management here. This is Microsoft's site. I'm not making this, this is pulling right from them. And the Copilot credits and event scenarios, and it's like trying to figure out what your cost is going to be is really difficult, especially when you're not, it's a very new thing, so we don't quite look how long this is, just on and on and on. So if anybody's experienced that and has something they can say to it differently than what I'm saying, please let me know. But our experience with working with customers and other people is that it's really hard to figure out, what the real world usage of the Copilot and what tokens are and how big the tokens are. With us, it's just, you have NITRO Copilot, you use it. There's a set cost. And the other thing with the NITRO Copilot, there's two different models. One model is to go with the open data set of like MS Graph, everything, every email, every document, everything, even stuff that was years old can be exposed by the Copilot of Microsoft Copilot or whatever you're using. You have to be careful about that because there often is old data, sensitive data, even possibly biased data, confidential data that's been sitting there, and all of a sudden things that are 5 or 10 years old are exposed through the Copilot. Where the alternative that we use and we've settled on is what we call a targeted data set. That means you've set aside a certain known specific set of data that's been vetted and analyzed as appropriate to be exposed through the Copilot. Access is tightly controlled because you know you're only dealing with this document library or multiple document libraries. And you usually, and we help you, can implement, if you don't have it, a DMS, a document management system, to control revisions, updates, and this. So think about this. We're talking about help desk here. So if a knowledge base article is going to be posted into a, whether it's a document library or some other file repository, that has to be controlled. If what the knowledge base says, somebody approves it, if there's a revision, maybe sometimes it's old data, it has to be deleted, but it's all controlled. And this really applies, when we first encountered this whole targeted data set was with HR documents. We worked with a large city in the United States. They had 300 different PDFs and other type documents based on HR. I used to do searches and that kind of thing. So we put a Copilot, our NITRO Copilot on, and now they're able to get these answers quickly without having, summarized answers from the AI, synthesized answers that will give them the right information, but only from that data set. That's the whole idea of the targeted data set. Only data only comes from that. So, and that is controlled, because if, the HR lawyers and the HR staff make sure it's the right information in there. So I just mentioned how it can be used for HR documents, policy procedures, standard operating procedures, employee guidelines, user manuals, many, many uses for this Copilot beyond the help desk. And then even larger listed here to extend it on to other things like construction specifications, quality control. We're doing a project right now with R&D documents at a manufacturer. And that's one. Maintenance plans. You can generate a maintenance plan if you do an asset management, quizzes. So much you can do with the Copilot with the right data set. And we could go into that more and more if you want to go beyond the help desk. Hey, I'm interested in doing a Copilot for this reason, for this purpose. All kinds of stuff. Well, one just example, just to give you kind of a realm of, we work with retirement homes in Australia, and they generate caregiver guidelines and quizzes too. Actually, that's the bottom one, quizzes. It's a caregiver guidelines and quizzes. So when they're taking care of somebody with a particular problem, they are able to use the Copilot to find out how to provide the best care and what the guidelines are. And the quizzes are used when someone joins the company, and they're able to set up a 10 or 20 question multiple choice quiz and different, used in that manner. All right, let's go back to the help desk and talk about the advanced. We talked about the Copilot. There's ticket assistance, summarization, generating emails, sentiment analysis, AI first response, AI-based categorization, AI-based prioritization. Those are things that are in NITRO Help Desk Advanced right now. And I'll get to the demo after, I think, one more slide than the demo. Okay, so we wanted to point out there's more AI features we're working on right now. Creating KB articles from tickets, that's very close. Identifying similar tickets, that's very close to being in there. We want to use other modalities besides text, voice, images, and video. We take a picture of a broken thing, like if you're in facilities maintenance or IT maintenance, I guess you could even do it, and then it's going to give you some response on how to fix it, that kind of thing. Support other LLMs besides Azure, OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, generate maintenance plans, do data analysis, generate instructional videos. That's kind of interesting. There's a lot of video creation going on in AI with avatars and stuff. So maybe you could use it for that in the help desk. And the quizzes I mentioned before. And of course, AI agents is a whole big world in itself. So there's a lot going on here in the AI world with the support and help desk, but also business processes in general. And it's very important to stay on top of those things. And thank you for coming to this webinar, because hopefully it'll provide some insights into those things for you of what's possible. So what we're looking at right now is a NITRO Help Desk version. And we'll start to look at some of those things we just talked about. So one of them is the KB Copilot, a NITRO Copilot as a KB Copilot. A NITRO Copilot is kind of the general term. It could be an HR Copilot, it could be a knowledge-based Copilot, it could be a guideline Copilot, whatever you want to call it, but it's the same technology. So you have this screen. There's a set of knowledge-based articles that have been here, and the user can come here. There's different ways you can prevent this. You can present this. It could be in Teams. It could be a place in Teams, like right here. You have the Copilot right here in Teams, but this is in SharePoint. It could be on a web page, all kinds of different places you can have this. And also on an intranet page is a common implementation of it. But the most important thing is that someone can come in here and ask a question. This setup of this layout is all determined by our NITRO Copilot tool, which is part of our NITRO Studio. So you can underline this whole application is our NITRO Studio, which runs on top of Microsoft 365. This is the help desk version, NITRO Studio for NITRO Help Desk version 3.5. With the Copilot's right here. And the Copilot, you can set up the configurations that you're seeing here. That's something we can go into more what should be done, but that's where a lot of stuff happens as far as pre-prompting, chunking the data, what AI connections, what this looks like as far as the UI, how it responds. We can go into that another time if you want, but right now we'll just go through this because the webinar only can do so much in a 30-minute or 40-minute webinar. So here we go. This is set up. So it says the person's name. Here's a welcome. Tell me about your problem. User responsible for verifying any information. You always have to have disclaimers like that. Okay, so let's put something in here. How do I deal with all the phishing emails I get? Oops, I get. And actually, there's a lot of pre-prompts we could do here. Now, yeah, I know. I missed that point. I should have had that set up before the webinar. But there are actually pre-prompts you can do here. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. So you could have already like boxes here that are known issues where they can just click and it's like as if they prompted that in. I can add that in. Okay, so now you're asking the Copilot for some kind of response. And it gives you back this is what AI does, right? It gives you back this answer. Effectively deal with phishing, follow these tips. And it's based on the knowledge base articles. Do not interact, report the email, block the sender, whatever it says. And then you can copy that. You could email it, that content. You can see where it came from, the references, the citations, all kinds of things you could do. Rate the conversation, which gives feedback to help you build a better knowledge base. You can copy the whole conversation. This is just one part of it. You copy either the one piece of information or the whole chat. You can email either one piece or the whole chat. And then you can do other things here too. I mean, maybe that answers the person's problem, but if it didn't, they can create a ticket. And they create a ticket, it's going to go into the ticketing system of the help desk behind it. Maybe they didn't give them enough answers. So it gives them a chance to say, you want to provide other information? I need more guidance. You can put in. And if they want to provide some feedback on how to improve it, they can. And then it goes over and becomes a ticket here in the ticketing system. And we see all tickets. And when the ticket comes in, there are the notifications that go out and the auto clarification, all these processes that normally happen when a new ticket comes in, the auto response, the auto routing, category, all these things happen. That's all part of the normal intake of a ticket that's automated through workflows. Now, these other ones I entered in earlier, VPN not working, printer issues, trouble connecting, and let's take a look at some of these and see what our system did. So this person put in VPN not working, and the person put, I'm having trouble with our VPN and remote access. When it went through sentiment analysis, it decided to put the priority high. So it auto-prioritized it as high. It said the requester's sentiment is neutral. So there is this sentiment analysis going on. And if the sentiment analysis is like frustrated, you can take other measures such as notify the manager. This is good in a customer support situation where the customer is getting frustrated and the system notices it and they can escalate it to a manager. But while we're in this ticket, we can look at some of the other features of AI here. One is an AI summary. So just here, simply click this button up here and it's going to summarize the ticket. This is really good for when there's a long work log and history of a ticket. In fact, what we found a lot of uses for this in is case management in the sense of dealing with, well, with the retirement homes, you have people who have long history of medical issues or problems or situations or whatever conferences and discussions. So it will summarize, like, you know, Billy's been having some issues with blah, blah, blah lately, but they're not as bad as they were last week or last month. And it looks like he's taken more, you know, all these kind of things about it can be summarized rather than have to read through a very lengthy work log there. A very lengthy work log, you have to be able to summarize it, right? So, okay. So what did it say? We have it structured so you look at the issue, what steps were taken, what was the outcome, what's the pending actions, and always the disclaimer about it being made incorrect. You can copy that, you can close this screen if you want. The other thing is if you say, well, I really wondered how I should, that's the summary. Another one is the assistance where you're saying, I wonder how I should answer this question. So now you are a staff member going to Copilot, not the end user going to Copilot. And it's going to say here, some advice on how to deal with this VPN issue. So what you can do here is then copy this, send it to the user, make it part of the work log. But we can even go one step further than this. If we go back to send email feature, now we're doing generate AI generated emails. So there's a standard email that can go out that just gives the information, but you also can generate an AI email. So there's various ways you can use it. You can use the ticket assistance to give you advice and maybe put it into the work log, or you can also generate an email saying, hi Scott Restivo, that's the request there, do all this stuff. And then you could append it to the body or replace the body of this email. It just replaced it. Now I'll put that content in here and you could send it out and you're going to get the user is going to get the email. Hopefully that will help the person resolve the problem. And it becomes part of the email history of this ticket. So you say that you sent all these different emails out, and me as a mail receiver should get, oh, that one's right here. Okay, I got the email about auto response when I created that phishing email, and I should get another one about the VPN, how to fix the VPN. I did get it earlier. When I tried it earlier, it came like this. So that's what it looks like. And so there, you know, just simply you're in the ticket and you're solving the problems right there with ease by using the AI. AI constructed all. I didn't type any of this. This is all AI stuff drawn from the knowledge base, the targeted data set of the knowledge. And you can imagine how this could work in an HR system. It could work in a research and development, and many, many different scenarios could have usefulness, could have use for this thing, this type of programming. So in our list here in the PowerPoint, we talked about, we're way back here, come on, the advanced features, KB Copilot, using the knowledge base, the ticket assistant, the summarization, the generating email, sentiment analysis, first response, categorization, priority. All these are going on because the AI is set up to do this. Here's the VPN not working from the latest, generate email action I just did. Here's sending over. So pretty cool. I mean, here it is. It's generated an email, bada boom, right there. Is another one coming in. Okay, good. So we're getting back to the ticket here. Summarization assistance buttons up here. It's adding things to the work log so you know what went on. And you have this generate email capability. You have the sentiment analysis. This is all adding, you're making your support a lot easier and efficient, and reducing the workload, plus giving the users answers more quickly. So what happened here, when I sent this in, if you remember, from the Copilot chat. I sent this in. I asked for an answer, and I said create ticket. So it created it. It auto-categorized it as email spam, talking about email and spam, because it knows that when you're talking about phishing emails, that should be correlated with a category of email and a category of spam. Now you could have different names, like issue type could be phishing instead of spam, but it's more or less the same thing. And that email, that shows that when it came in and when the ticket was created, AI took some analysis of it, it decided what category and issue type to make it. Now, when it decides what category and issue type, you can tie auto routing, auto assignment to every networking ticket or remote access issue goes to a certain group. So you can really use the combination of the AI and these workflows in the NITRO Help Desk to provide a very streamlined operation going on here for managing these tickets. That first of all, you have the co-pilot for the end user to create, ask the question. That's the first thing. The co-pilot right here, whether they're in Teams or whatever, they can ask the question. They can keep prompting and prompting and prompting more than fishing. How do I use a VPN? And you can also do stuff with this where we can allow some ability to go out to the larger LLMs and provide answers there. And the ways you can set it up to do that. It depends on how you want to configure it. I think what I'll do right now is go over to our HR Copilot and show you a little more what's going on with that. Here it is, HR Help Desk. And go to our HR Copilot, because this has those pre-prompts set up already that I talked about. See? So these are what should show up in the IT ones. Somehow I didn't put that in for this webinar, sorry. But it's easy enough to do. You just go to NITRO Copilot here, go to the KB setup, and you configure it. And what you're going to do here is configure prompts. Prompts right here. It says what pre-prompts you want to have here. You can put them in right here, pre-canned prompts. You just put one in. It's easy enough to do, but they're already here in the HR Copilot. So what's the harassment policy? What is the paid? What are the paid holidays? What is the dress code? What is the policy? So what are the paid holidays at Crow Canyon? I'm shifting a little to HR, but the same kind of Copilot idea here. So here's this. Okay, here's what I want to show though, how you can take what it gives here as a user, whether you're in IT or HR, whatever department, and expand on it through the use of it. So, okay, but what are the dates? What are the dates of these holidays in 2025? This means it's referenced in the previous chat. It's not going to, it's saying these holidays refers to what the chat just gave it. So this idea of it has contextual memory of what we were talking about earlier. That can be very helpful in the prompting going on. So it goes there. Now it's telling you it's Wednesday, what day it is. Thanksgiving's the 27th, day after is 28th. It's telling you all that stuff. Then you can even write an email to James, let's just say me, Scott R at Crow Canyon 365. That's just a demo account about these holidays. Kind of cool stuff. I mean, I play with this a lot, and you find out like, oh, ChatGPT can do all kinds of stuff. Here's the dates you can include in your email. Okay. It's done a little better before. Let me see. Maybe it's the way I prompted. Generate an email for the above. Yeah, really, it's kind of cool stuff. You can fool around with this a lot, and that's what's all about the prompting and everything, getting it right. What it did previously, I might have put the different prompt in. It says, and it's still saying here, but here it is. Yeah, sample email to Scott. This is what I meant. Dear Scott, here's the holidays, warm regards. Now, if you're doing like a disability policy, it's kind of interesting because then you could actually, like a policy document you can send out to somebody like that. Okay, let's go do a new chat and say, I want to report harassment Crow Canyon. We don't do that. Krista, we don't, do we? No. Any questions,
no,
Krista?
We don't do that.
Are there any questions coming up here?
No, looks like no questions yet, but we will open it up at the end as well. So if anyone does have any questions, now's a good time to go ahead and start thinking about that.
Okay, good. So if you want to report a harassment, where is the nearest 7-Eleven? No, EOC. Where's the nearest 7-Eleven? I want to get some snacks. No, but where's the nearest EOC office? To locate the nearest, do this. Okay, but wait a minute. I am in Benicia, California. That's where I am. Nice little city on the Carquinez Strait. So now it's telling me very specifically the nearest one's over there in San Francisco. Okay. And thank you. So show me a sample of a complaint, harassment complaint, complaint letter. Am I spelling harassment right? I don't know. Someone doesn't think I'm spelling it right. See where you can go like all kinds of places with this? It's crazy. So here it is, your name, to manager, subject, details of the incident. It's like, I don't know. I'm pretty amazed by what stuff it can do. How it can apply to IT support. Well, you can think of all the different emails you can generate, or what's the policy on this, the policy on that. I'm not sure if in our IT help desk one, we have, okay, I wonder if it has this in our knowledge base. If it did, then you could add it. What is our policy on using VPNs? For some reason I'm stuck on the VPN thing. I've been doing a lot of travel and using different VPNs, so I'm thinking about it. Looks like we don't have a KB article. So you can say, okay, we don't have a KB article about that. Why don't I send that over to, report that as something to send over to, feedback, the feedback loop, and then it'd be able to say, you should generate a KB article about this, right? Or you could email it to IT at whatever. Okay, and it will email them, and then in the knowledge base, you have the Copilot feedback right here, list. I don't know if there's very much in it, but I forgot my password or the steps. So, it's giving you this feedback saying that you can parse out and say that there are different things we need to put into our knowledge base, and circle back and put it into the knowledge base. In the knowledge base, you have, all articles, new articles, published articles, drafts, all this, and it goes through that document management system to make sure that you're keeping all your information up to date, doing revisions properly, and getting things in there that have been approved from it. And like I said, our next step, I said earlier, was to go here and generate a KB article from this information right here. And there's ways you can do it already. You can say create a KB article when the ticket is closed. So it would create a KB article when the ticket is closed. So it's all kinds of cool stuff going on. I don't want to take up everybody's too much time. We're trying to keep to 30, 40 minutes and put some questions in. But what I wanted to do, and hopefully we accomplished to some degree in this webinar, is showing you that there's many, many interesting and compelling reasons to use AI in the practical, real world sense. We can help you get it set up. We can give you the background, talk to your IT people, your cybersecurity people, and let them know what the ramifications of using these different systems is, what costs are, and all that. But it's inevitably going to come into play more and more and more, and it's showing real results in the customers who are actually using this, where they're reducing the number of tickets they get, the speed of resolution, the accuracy. And as they work through this in the initial phases, and they find out what is missing in their knowledge base or in their set of documents, or what's inaccurate, they correct all that. So there's this continuous cycle of improvement going on, where it might be a little bumpy at first to get all the information, get the prompting just right, but with patience and taking it as a project, very quickly it turns out to be a more and more useful and more practical. And the stuff that's coming out, all the new features with AI this and AI that, putting that in. Of course, the AI agents will be a big factor with the model context protocol, they call it MCP, and how we're going to integrate all that in. So more and more like password resets or things like that can be done automatically. So it's really, really interesting things. We can embed this inside of Teams. There's a Teams chat here. You can see right here a chat that pushed it out to a Teams message saying, here's, you asked about verified VPN, test with a different VPN, send it out in Teams. You can also, so it's fully integrated with Teams is what I'm trying to say. You also can use the Copilot within Teams right here. It's the same Copilot. It's a different one because it has the prompts here, but it's the same idea of the Copilot where there are different prompts already here, and they could use it and then be inside Teams and get it all done without ever get all these questions here without ever leaving Teams. And you can submit a new ticket, view your existing tickets. If you have to approve things, they're all here. All this stuff's right here inside of Teams as well as in the backend SharePoint thing. A lot of very interesting and cool features coming out. A lot of fascinating things. And if you have any ideas and say, can it do this, can it do that, we'd love to hear. I think the conversation is really open at this point, and we are learning together as we grow what's practical, what isn't, and putting in real world solutions for people. So I think, Krista, I mean, I covered pretty much what we wanted to in this. Again, the encouragement to get people to have one-on-one demos with us to get even more, because we find that these are really useful conversations that help us understand what's driving, you know, your quest for AI, what your organization's thinking about it, where they want to go with it. And then the other is learning what's possible. So we learn from each other in these conversations. All right, I think we're good there, Krista, don't you? Do you have anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, Scott, walking us all through this today. And thank you to everyone who attended. I hope you got some good insights into this. And certainly invite you to reach out and get a one-on-one demo of your own so we can talk a little bit more about your specific use case.
That's true. It doesn't even have to be a demo. It could just be a conversation where we find out, you know, explore the possibilities and parameters of using AI. AI is such a broad topic that I almost don't even like calling it AI anymore. It's just, you know, like let's call it advanced support or extended
Hmm.
support or something, because AI incorporates so much, and we're just looking to do what's the most practical and useful for a help desk and a support system. Okay.
It's a
All
great
right.
point.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you for everyone for attending. And we'll post this on YouTube, and you can always send us email about questions later, or you know, anytime. We're glad to talk to you, and thank you again. Have a nice day. Have a good day. Good rest of your day. Okay, Krista, we're good. Okay, bye bye.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everyone.